When your mind is racing, spinning through a dozen worst-case scenarios, your instinct is usually to look outward for a fix. You search for an external solution to quiet the internal chaos. Long before modern therapy or mindfulness apps, a 16th century poet named Goswami Tulsidas offered a specific method for managing this exact problem. He wrote a collection called the Vinaya Patrika, which translates to a petition of humility. Right in the opening line of his most famous verse, he names the precise condition we still struggle with today, bhava bhaya darunam. That translates to the terrible, paralyzing fear of simply existing in an uncertain world. To address this fear, Tulsidas takes a specific approach. He doesn't shout into the void, and he doesn't even plead with a higher power. Instead, his very first instruction is bhaju mana, an order directed entirely at his own mind. The verse that follows, known as the Sri Mam Stuti, operates as a blueprint for cognitive conditioning. By forcing the mind to focus on specific, striking metaphors, it provides a structured way to process and neutralize chaos. The mental conditioning begins with a single, repeating image. The text describes the deity, Lord Rama, using the lotus flower. His eyes, his face, his hands, and his feet are all compared to a newly bloomed lotus, or navakanja. Biologically, a lotus requires a harsh environment to grow. It roots itself deep in dark, oxygen-depleted, muddy water. Yet when the flower breaches the surface, its petals are pristine, effortlessly repelling the muck below. That mud is the functional equivalent of daily human life. It represents the chronic stress, the toxic relationships, and the financial anxieties we navigate every day. The instruction here is practical. You cannot avoid the mud. The objective is to exist fully within a chaotic environment without absorbing any of its toxicity. By repeatedly visualizing this untouched lotus form, the practitioner is training their brain. They are building the mental habit required to practice emotional detachment and maintain their own clarity when surrounded by hostility. But detachment alone is only half the strategy. The stuti immediately introduces a visual contrast. It visualizes the divine form as dark and heavy as a new rain cloud, Nava Nila Nirada, while wearing garments that strike like bright yellow lightning. The dark rain cloud is an anchor of stillness. It represents infinite depth and life-giving compassion. It is the steady presence of a friend to the weak, a trait the text calls Dina Bandhu. Against that dark stillness, the yellow lightning provides explosive, dynamic energy. It is the sudden, illuminating power necessary to counteract negative forces the moment they appear. This graphic illustrates the psychological balance of those contrasting forces. To be resilient, the human mind requires both of these traits simultaneously. You need a steady, unshakable inner calm, paired with the capacity for decisive action. By internalizing these traits, the practitioner addresses the root of psychological passivity. It reinforces a mindset where peace is not a lack of conflict, but a state maintained through the constant readiness for action. That requirement for strength brings us to the Stuti's shift into warrior imagery. The text describes a figure with long, powerful arms, armed with a bow and arrows. This is the stance of a fighter who defeated the formidable demons Kara and Dashana. Read as a psychological manual, this battlefield is internal. Kara and Dashana represent our own destructive impulses, specifically Kama, which is unchecked desire, and Krodha, which is paralyzing anger. To survive, the mind constructs its own internal protector. You cultivate an unyielding moral warrior within yourself, equipped to neutralize toxic thoughts the second they threaten to consume you. After building this mental image of a detached, balanced protector, Tulsidas makes his final request. He asks this force to permanently reside inside the lotus of his own heart. This shifts the focus of devotion entirely. It moves away from the external pursuit of the divine in a distant temple, and instead moves the seeker toward a profound internal realization. In Vedic philosophy, this is the transition from Saguna Bhakti to Nirguna Bhakti. It's the realization of Advaita, where the boundary between worshipper and worshipped dissolves. The seeker stops looking for an external savior, recognizing these divine qualities as their own nature. The meditation ends exactly where it began, with the mind. It starts by visualizing a protector from a distance, then anchors those specific psychological traits directly into the self. The Sri Ram Stuti functions as a psychological framework. Reciting it is a deliberate exercise in constructing a detached, balanced, and resilient persona, designed to navigate the pressures of a chaotic world.